Okay lads, you guys had question 2, A, B and C from page 198 of your textbook to do for homework this evening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through that question 2, all of it, and then I'm going to go through question 1 just as a little extra bit of revision. So what you might do would be a good idea, do question 2 for homework, have a look at it. Some of you might look at this. After you've had a look at the question 2, good idea, have a look, try question 1 yourselves, and then you can look at the solutions and see if you're getting it right. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start off with question 2a. And this is on page 198. So the first thing you guys are asked to do is solve for x. And what you're given is x squared plus 6x, and you're told that that's equal to 27. Now hopefully what you're thinking about is, you know, you're going to have to split up, use the guide number method, etc. But first things first, hopefully you remember that you have to make it equal to 0. Of course lads, when you bring something over and back on an equal sign, you change the sign. Strictly speaking, we're taking 27 from both sides, but sort of a shorthand version, we know this. So we say 1 by 27. We say so our guide number is going to be minus 27. We say what two numbers multiply to give us minus 27. So hopefully you're far enough along that you know that 1 and 27 won't work, 2 nothing, 3 and 9 look like it might work. So it's either 3 and minus 9, or it's minus 3 and plus 9. And what we want to do is see which one of those will add together and give us plus 6, because plus 6, as you can see here lads, plus 6 is in the middle. What have we got? Yeah, the minus 3 and the plus 9 will do it for us. So we're going to break the middle term up, and we're going to say now that it's x squared minus 3x plus 9x minus 27 equals to 0. I know it's a little bit tight there. We're going to look here and here. We're going to factorize things out. So we're going to say x is common, leaving x minus 3. We're going to have a look at the second two terms. See there, 9 is common, leaving x minus 3. Of course, it's still equal to 0. Factorize out again. This term and this term are common, so you're going to have x minus 3 multiplied by x plus 9. We've discussed a lot about what happens when things multiply and equal to 0, so we know that our technique says that we'll say x minus 3 equals to 0, or x plus 9. Ignoring everything else that went before, just solve x minus 3 equals to 0 on your own, so x equals to 3, x is equal to minus 9, and that's part A done. Okay, so we're going to go on now, part B. Of course lads, you could sub either of those numbers back into the original, which is up here, and provided you, well, if you subbed it into that one, you should have 27 on the left and 27 on the right. If you subbed it in here, you'd have 0 on the left and 0 on the right. So it doesn't matter which one you sub it in, so long as that the left hand side is equal to the right hand side. Alright, the next question is an inequality. There's a lot going on. You're asked to solve for x. The question on its own, 3x plus the bit that's important for us that we're going to be working with, of course, greater than or equal to minus 1. You're told some other information. X is an element of R. That just means it's for all values. So it's not just natural numbers, 1, 2, 3 and 4. It's not just integers, so positive and negative whole numbers. It's for R, so it's all numbers. So that includes fractions and decimals and square roots and irrational numbers and odd numbers, the whole lot. And you're also asked to graph your solution on a number line. We might just stick that in anyway. To tackle something like this, hopefully what you remember is you just treat it as if the inequality was an equal sign. So the 3x stays where it is, x is to one side, numbers to the other. Watching your signs, minus 1, minus 2 is minus 3. And then divide both sides by 3. 3's will cancel for me. Minus 1. Of course lads, the only rule that you need to remember, it's not applicable here, but the only rule you need to, if you were dividing, so if this number here was a negative, that would mean this number here would be a negative. So you'd be dividing both sides by a negative number. In that instance, you would have to flip the inequality. Doesn't apply here, but just remember it for any other revision questions that you're doing. Number line wise, and of course if you're drawing a number line, use a ruler, but I don't have one. Your straight line, 0, minus 1, minus 2, 1 and 2. X you're told is greater than or equal to minus 1. So you know you're going to need a dot on the minus 1 to show that minus 1 is included. So I should probably have this in red. And of course then your solid line all the way along. I'll stick an arrow at the end then, so that people will know that it's continuing on, it's going on up to infinity. Okay, next part of the question, part C. Part C, you're asked to solve for x and y, and that tells you straight away that it's going to be a simultaneous equation. But the other thing that tells you it's going to be a simultaneous equation is just the way it looks, the way it's written for you. There's two equations. First one is 2x plus y 5. Okay, now if you've looked at the last video, you'd have seen that usually what we would do in an instance like this is we would cross multiply these two numbers. So this one would go down here, this 2 would go down here, and then this 2 would go up here. In this instance, it's not really necessary. Not necessary at all. The two x's, if I change the signs along the bottom, the two x's will just cancel for me straight away. So I'm just going to rewrite the question here. Set in yellow. So I've got 2x minus 3y is equal to minus 7. I've got 2x plus y equals to 5. I'm going to change the signs along the bottom. So this becomes a minus, this becomes a minus, and this becomes a minus. 2x's cancel. Watch this section here, of course. Minus 3y minus y is minus 4y. People make mistakes there quite regularly. Minus 12. Dividing both sides by minus 4. So y value is going to equal to 3. That's the first part of our solution. Again, if you watched the last video, you'd remember the next step now. Take the original equation, so that's 2x minus 3y equals to minus 7. Doesn't matter whether you take the first one or the second one. And you're going to sub that 3 in. Bearing in mind some of the things I said in the last video, lots of people make mistakes when they're subbing that 3 in for the y. They leave the y in, it becomes 3 by 3 by y, etc. None of that happens. 2x minus 9. X is to one side, numbers to the other. Of course, being careful, watching your signs. Divide both sides by 2. So x value is going to be 1. And there are your solutions. I showed you in the last video how you'd go about subbing that back in, just to confirm and double check answers, etc, etc. It's worth noting, lads, just that even up here at the original, if you did do the cross multiplication and multiply both the top line by 2, the top equation by 2 and the bottom equation by 2, and continued on with the steps that were shown in the previous video, the question will still work out perfectly for you. So if you're comfortable with that method, you're happy with that method, and you're not quite ready to change it around or do different things, there's no problem. Stick to what you know, stick to the steps, and it'll work out for you. Okay, that's next video will be the question 1.